Selling on Etsy doesn't have to be hard. You can spend hours and even days researching strategies to be successful as an Etsy seller, but at the end of the day, there are only a very few important things that truly move the needle. If you focus on these specific 3 tactics, I guarantee you're putting yourself on a great path towards growing a profitable Etsy shop. As someone who's sold on Etsy now for 10 years and made it to the top 1% of sellers, you can trust me when I say that I've tried pretty much everything, and these 3 strategies are the ones that actually worked. I'm excited to dive into strategy number 1, but I want to let you know real quick, if you are a beginner Etsy seller or you're someone who's wanting more sales in your Etsy shop, then I have something that's going to drastically help you increase your sales and make consistent revenue on Etsy. And it's my free hour-long 5-pillar formula Etsy Masterclass. This is my deep dive masterclass that goes into the 5P framework that I built my multiple 6-figure Etsy business on. And it's going to help you know exactly what to do step by step from day 1 to see success as an Etsy seller. So if you're interested in watching that, it's totally free to you. You can watch it on demand after you get done watching this video. Just click the link in the description box below. And with that, let's jump into the first of these 3 strategies, and that is to validate your product idea. This step is absolutely necessary. Please do not skip this. You'd be surprised how many Etsy sellers go in there without even giving a thought to doing product research to validate that the product idea they have is actually in demand in the market and will sell well. It is of utmost importance that you make sure the product type and the style you're selling it in are currently in demand and not just something that you personally like or is your style. Now, of course, we always want to offer things that we enjoy making ourselves, but it has to be something people are currently searching for on the platform. Now, there are 2 main parts to this step. Number 1 is to validate your broader main product type or category. An example of a broad product category might be sweatshirts, leather bracelets, or phone cases. Those are still very general and broad and haven't gotten too specific yet, but before we even get specific in terms of style, we have to validate that the actual product type is in demand on Etsy. And then once we've done that, step 1, to validate the broad product type, then we move to step 2, which is to get a little more specific and targeted with it and to do some trend and style research to make sure that the style that we're offering that product in is also something that's currently in demand and not something that's faded out or is outdated or something that's so niche or unique that nobody knows about it. The key here is to not try to reinvent the wheel, but to go with something that's already popular, people are already searching for it, it's well known, it's trending, it's highly in demand. Now, of course, we're going to talk in a minute about putting your own twist on it. You never want to copy anyone else or any products that are already listed, but you can get inspiration by doing this type of research to see what people are searching for, to see what's selling well, and then to think through how to make it even better by putting your own unique selling point in it. So I'm going to show you an example of how I might start to do this type of product and trend research. So to start this kind of research, I would first come on Etsy and just start typing into the search bar what I'm thinking of as my product idea. So let's say I want to sell baby blankets. I want to validate that that's a good idea. I'm going to start typing baby blanket. And as I start typing, you'll see these suggested phrases pop up underneath. These are phrases that Etsy is predicting I might want to search for because these are keyword phrases that a lot of people are consistently searching recently on Etsy. So we've got baby blanket pattern, baby blanket custom, crochet with name, personalized. So this is a great way to just see what people are searching. And then because I use the tool Sales Samurai and I have their Chrome extension installed, that's where you see these little blue numbers beside these phrases. So this is telling me what Sales Samurai estimates for that keyword phrase, the amount of searches per month on Etsy is. So Sales Samurai is telling me, for instance, baby blanket crochet is searched an estimated amount of over 21,000 times per month. So let's say I'm interested in doing something that is personalized. Maybe I'll choose this one and I'm just going to see what results come up on Etsy when I type that in. I'm going to start looking through these listings and just look for the little popular now or bestseller badges that appear sometimes on the top left of thumbnails. And I'm going to see how many of these actually have that badge, because the more listings that have the bestseller or popular now badge, the better. That's telling me that a lot of listings in this category are selling. Now I can see as I scroll through these different baby blanket listings that there are several that say bestseller and popular now. So that's my first clue that baby blankets probably do sell pretty well on Etsy. Now, if I want to do some further research with Sales Samurai, I can come back up to the search bar where I have these keyword phrases. And if I click on the 500 more, this will take me over to their full page where I can look at all of the different related keyword phrases and see the search volume and competition for each. So this is going to populate phrases that are similar to what I typed in. So for this one, I chose baby blanket personalized girl. So this is showing me similar phrases to that, but I can click to see the highest search volume first. So I'm going to then scroll down through these knowing that these first ones are very high search volume and look for lower competition. The lower the competition, the less sellers are targeting this keyword, the more chance I have of breaking through that market saturation. So I'm going to look for something that's higher in search volume and lower in competition. So I can see this one has over 26,000 searches per month, but only a competition of 4,000. So that's a pretty good ratio. And this search phrase is bow blanket for baby girl. So maybe I hadn't thought of that before, but this tells me people are liking bow blankets. Maybe I could keep that in mind when determining what kind of product I want to sell. There's also this one that's over 26,000 searches per month, but only 3,000 competition, which is lower. And this one is cow blanket baby girl. So I would continue my research down this list, just getting some inspiration and ideas for things that are selling well, but might have lower competition. And then once I feel pretty good about validating my broad product type, I'm going to do similar research, but in terms of style and trend elements. So for a baby blanket, I might be looking at what materials are being used, what color schemes I see repeated over and over again in the best-selling listings. I'm seeing a lot of them that offer personalization, so maybe that's something I want to offer. I can look at what fonts people are using in the typography on the personalization. So I'm going to scroll down through these, looking at the first page of search results, specifically looking at the bestseller and popular now listings because I know they're doing something right, and taking note of what trend elements I'm seeing repeated over and over again: patterns, color schemes, font styles, materials. And I'm going to take inspiration from that, knowing that that's what's selling well, and thinking about how I can incorporate those trend elements and put my own spin and twist on my listing to make it even better. So if you're interested in trying out Sales Samurai, I do have a free 3-day trial. You can give it a try, see if it's a good fit for your business, and you can enter the code KATE20, and that'll give you 20% off your monthly subscription if you decide you do want to keep using it beyond the free trial. I want to thank Sales Samurai for sponsoring this portion of today's video. I can't wait to see how you use it and hope it'll be a huge help for your business like it is for mine. So doing this type of product and trend research is going to validate that you have a product idea that's definitely going to sell well on Etsy. It has potential, people are searching for it. And after you know that, then you move on to step number 2, which is to optimize your listings strategically. So we've validated and created our product, and now it's time to actually create the listings that are going to go in our Etsy shop. There's a certain way that we have to create these listings so that they'll, number 1, get discovered in the search, and number 2, once they get discovered, make the sale. You can't just guess at this. There's actual strategy and proven tactics that help your listings get discovered and convert into the sale. So we're being strategic to optimize our listings in the different areas that we can to give them the most potential for these 2 factors. There are certain things that we can do to our listing when we create it to help it get discovered, and certain things that will help it make more sales. So let's talk first about optimization factors for discovery or ranking high in the search. There are 4 main factors we're focusing on here in this part. Number 1 is arguably the most important, and that is SEO, or search engine optimization. Now, SEO can sound kind of intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. All it really is using keyword phrases that other people are already searching for on the Etsy platform when they look for things, and you're plugging those keyword phrases into your listing in specific places as a clue to the algorithm that your listing would be a great match for that shopper who just typed in that phrase. You want the algorithm to identify your listing as a match, and then secondly, rank it high among all the matches in the search results so that it's showing hopefully on the first or second page for that shopper. So again, you can do keyword research to find these highly searched keyword phrases that are relevant for your product and accurately describe what you have to sell with tools like Sales Samurai. And once you know the keywords that are highly searched and that you're going to target with your listing, you're going to plug those in the 5 most important areas in your listing. Those 5 areas being your title, your tag section, your description, the category, and the attributes. You're going to match those keyword phrases as closely as possible between those different sections. So for instance, if I wanted one of my keyword phrases I'm targeting to be wood Christmas sign, I'm going to use that keyword phrase wood Christmas sign in the title. I'm going to use it in my tag section as one of the 13 tags, and I'm going to plug it in as I'm writing my description of my item out. I'm going to plug it in there as well, making sure that that description is readable and conversational, but intentionally and strategically plugging in those same keyword phrases throughout. I also want to be aware of filter qualifiers. These are things like the category that I choose, the attributes that I choose, which could be things like color, size, scent, and my price point. So for instance, if a shopper is filtering their search and they only want to see results that are the color blue, if I have actually added the color blue as one of my attributes on my listing, that's going to qualify my listing to show up in that search that the shopper filtered. Similarly, if I price my item at $49 and the shopper says they only want to see things under $50, that's going to include my listing. Whereas if I had priced it slightly higher at $51, then I wouldn't be showing up. So I want to be smart and strategic about these certain filter qualifiers and do as much as I can with my listing, thinking about what people might use as filters to make sure that my listing is still going to show up even in those filtered searches. Now, of course, whatever I put for my category and attributes need to be relevant and accurately describe my product, but I want to take advantage of as many of those as possible that are relevant to help my listing have the most potential to show up in those filtered searches. Next, under this category is filling out my about section and my shop policies. You'd be surprised how many people leave these sections blank when all they have to do is just complete them. Doesn't even really matter how you complete it, but just simply having your about section and your policies completed in your shop settings will automatically give your listings a boost in the search rankings because that's part of how the algorithm works, and it rewards shops that are more fully complete with the about section and policies filled out. And lastly, here under optimizing for discovery are shop reviews. The more high, positive, 5-star shop reviews you have, the more your listings are going to rank higher and higher. So it's really important that you encourage your shoppers in a non-spammy, friendly, and non-intrusive way to leave you feedback in the form of a review. You can do this by including a little reminder for them to leave you a review in your note to them when they make a purchase. You can include this on your packing slip if you're using a packing slip for physical things that are shipped out. You can do this in a lot of ways, but the key here is to be friendly and not to spam your customers, but just in a really simple way, encourage them and remind them to leave a review. You'd be surprised how many people would actually really like to leave you a review, but just forget about it. So those are the 4 things we're keeping in mind when optimizing to be ranked high in the search, but it's not enough just to be found in the search. We have to optimize for conversion. We have to actually make the sale once someone clicks on our listing, right? So we've got several different optimization factors here when we're considering optimizing for conversion. Number 1 is your thumbnail and your listing images. So you have 10 listing image slots. You can put photos there, and you want to use as many of these 10 photo slots as you can to give the buyer as much information through those photos as possible. These can be different types of photos from different angles, showing different details of your product. You could even use text graphics to give information. But your thumbnail is the very first listing image that's going to show up in the search results before anyone ever even clicks on your listing. So that thumbnail image, the very first one, is the most important. It has to be the one that's most clickable and most intriguing for the buyer to click on to then see your whole listing. You want to make sure that your images are well lit. They shouldn't be dim or dark. And you want to make sure that they're cropped and sized right. Keeping in mind that your thumbnail image is automatically going to crop in a little bit, so it's best to do a horizontal photo for that one so that when it crops in, you're not cropping any of your product out of the photo by accident. It's great when you're taking your product photos if you can get some from closer up, some from further away, so that you can have some to choose from and choose the right one that's sized correctly for that thumbnail image. Next, you want to think about how you're writing your description. This is really important as well because this is going to give the buyer the information they need to make a decision. The more information you can tell them about your product, how it's delivered, how they can use it, all of the different details, the more comfortable they're going to feel actually making the purchase. I love to use a little hook in the beginning of the description, something that pulls that reader in to want to click to read more and read that full description. And most times what I'm doing is using some really intriguing language to paint an aspirational picture of what this product might serve as a solution for their pain point or their problem. That way you can draw them in and they're thinking, oh, this could really be a great solution for me. Let me click to read more. And remembering all the while, this is readable and conversational, but we are weaving in our keyword phrases as well. And of course, we have to think about the price point. Subconsciously, buyers most of the time never want to purchase the highest price or the lowest price within a niche. They're going to pick something that they feel like is reasonably in the middle. So that's where you want to price your product. You want to do a little bit of research within your product type, your category, your niche to see what other best-selling listings are selling for, and consider consider what you would need as profit to make it worth your time. Of course, in the beginning, if you're just trying to get those first few sales and get some momentum, then you might want to consider pricing a little lower to be more competitive. And then once you've got some sales and some traction on that listing, you can always up your prices later to be a little bit more profitable for you. Also here, we're considering variation options. This is where you'll see on a listing if they have drop-down menu options for things like color, size. There are lots of different types of variations you can put on your listing, and offering variations gives the buyer the chance to have a hand in creating what they're purchasing, which buyers love. Simply offering some choices like this on your listing could give your product the edge over something really similar that the shopper might purchase from a different shop. These don't have to be crazy different choices. You could simply give them 3 or 4 choices for color, or 3 or 4 choices for size or scent, whatever variations are relevant for your product. But don't feel like you have to go crazy here. Just even offering a few choices is better than nothing and could be the one thing that causes that shopper to choose your listing. We can also offer incentives. Incentives are like little rewards that you give to your buyer for purchasing your listing. This could be a buy one, get one free deal. This could be free shipping or a discount code or a sale. But offering these kinds of incentives, again, could be the one thing that helps the buyer choose your listing over a similar one from another shop. And lastly, under this section, we're talking about processing time. Of course, buyers want their items as fast as possible. So if it's not something like an instant download, you're going to have to think about your processing time and how quickly you can actually get this shipped out to the buyer. Now, you always want to make sure you're setting your processing times in a realistic way for what you can actually truly do according to your capacity, but the quicker you can turn around your orders and get them shipped out, the better. And a lot of times that is the determining factor for shoppers as far as how quickly they can actually receive the product. So we definitely want to avoid any unnecessary padding in terms of our processing time and put a processing time that is accurate, but also shoot for being able to quickly turn this around. All right, now I know that was a lot. There's a lot of optimization factors, but if we can focus on getting those right and getting our listings well optimized, creating quality listings, that's going to drastically improve our chances of getting discovered and making those sales. But there's one last piece to the puzzle that we haven't talked about yet, and that is tactic number 3, promoting your shop externally. So the Etsy algorithm works hugely on sales volume, meaning in general, the more sales a single listing gets, the higher and higher it's going to start ranking in the search. But you might be wondering, well, how do I get those first few sales so that the algorithm kicks in and takes notice of my listing and starts to rank it? And that's a great question. And the answer is to promote externally. In the beginning, when we're first trying to get some momentum and get that traction going with those first few sales, it is of utmost importance that we as the seller drive traffic from other platforms and don't just fully rely on the algorithm to pick our listing up and show it to everyone. It's likely not going to pick it up and start showing it in the search until we have a few sales on it. So it's our job to drive that traffic and get those first few sales in whatever way we can. Of course, if you have family and friends that want to support you, this is a great way for you to get those first few sales. You can just point them to purchase through your Etsy listing as opposed to paying you separately on Venmo or PayPal. Have them purchase through your Etsy listing, even if you give them a free shipping code or something for just delivering it to them locally. That way it registers on that listing as a sale and it's already starting to rack up those sales. But if you don't have a circle of family and friends, you can always do this on an external platform through content marketing. So I have 3 forms of digital marketing that are my absolute favorite to use. These are the 3 that have moved the needle the most for me in my business, and I consider them sort of my marketing trifecta, and they are social media marketing, email marketing, and collaborations. So social media marketing and email marketing work hand in hand. Social media sort of serves as the initial place that people find you when they don't even know you exist. They might discover your account, and I like to think of it sort of as the initial handshake to get to know someone. They've just discovered you, and then you can point them to join your email list from there. So once they're on your email list, that is where the sales happen. Research shows that email converts at a much higher rate compared to social media, especially for making sales. So I would use content marketing on a social media platform to serve my ideal customer, be creating content, putting it out there into the world to draw in the type of people that would be interested in my products, point them to join my email list through something like a freebie or a lead magnet that would get them to want to opt into my list. And then in their email inbox is where I'm going to be sharing things like sales, discounts, incentives I have to offer. And that is where people are more likely to click through to your shop and to to make the purchase. So those two work really well together. And then I like to add in the third pillar of collaborations. This could be collaborations with other Etsy sellers. This could be a collaboration with an influencer. But either way, getting to know others and networking and doing these types of collaborations where you're promoting each other allows you to have a win-win situation where you're tapping into someone else's audience that's already built and not having to start from scratch. So for example, if I'm selling baby blankets, I might search out an influencer on Instagram, let's say, that has a similar target audience as I do. Maybe she's a mom blogger. And so I know the people that are following her because of her motherhood content would be interested in baby blankets. So I would reach out to that influencer either by email or through direct message and just quickly and in a friendly way pitch my idea of working with her. I might offer to pay her to mention me on her account, but if I don't have a financial budget, I could also offer free product or a discount code for her audience, something that's going to make it a win for her. And in turn, she features me on her account, sends her audience my way, and that way I'm starting already with a leg up. Collaborations can go so far and give you a major shortcut when you're first starting and trying to get those first few sales. You can reach out to other sellers or influencers on platforms like Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, Facebook. There are lots of different places you can find people to collaborate with, but you just want to be intentional about this and don't be shy about reaching out. You might receive some no's, but you also might receive some yeses that can literally jumpstart you right from the beginning. And one of the main reasons I love these three types of marketing is because they're all organic, they're all completely free, and they're going to tell the world that your shop exists. Remember, no one will know that your shop is out there unless you tell them, so you have to be proactive about driving that traffic in the beginning. And once you get those first few sales rolling in and your listings start to improve in their listing quality score, the algorithm will at some point take notice of them, start to rank them higher organically in the Etsy search. And that's when the magic happens, when those Etsy shoppers who don't even know about your shop discover your listing, start to make purchases, and the ball starts really rolling. So those are the three tactics that have truly moved the needle in my business. I hope those help you as well. Don't forget to click the link in the description box below if you'd like to take even a deeper dive into these strategies that brought my shop to the top 1%. I go step by step through exactly what you need to do. So that's a totally free masterclass you can watch on demand. Just click through on that link in the description box below or go to etsymasterclass.com. And I can't wait to see where you go with your Etsy business. Happy selling!